Shalom, it's the brother Kadash. We'll start off by giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. This is a little quick one. Just asking the question, what does the Lord require of us? Because that's, when a lot of people come into this truth or they're studying this truth, that's what a lot of people, what I've been seeing is a lot of people main question is what does the Lord require of us? Okay, so I know all this. Okay, so I know that we're the Israelites, Native Americans, blacks, and Hispanics. We're the Israelites. That's who salvation is for. Um, I know that the so-called UFOs or the chariots, that is the salvation of Israel. That's what we're going to be saying. I know that America is mystery Babylon. I know that America is going to be destroyed, laid waste, in a desolation, and no man's ever going to dwell there. If you go to Jeremiah 49, Jeremiah chapter 50, Isaiah 13, we was just going over it last night, me and the brother, when we was studying. But you know, I know all these things are gonna happen. I know the mark of the beast is the micro implant chip. I know the law, statutes, the commandments, the dietary law, Leviticus 11. I know um, not to commit adultery and how to rule your household and stuff like that. Just touching on some things. I know these things is really about the spirit. It's about the faith. You got to be a Jew inwardly, outwardly. Stuff like that. I know who the Edomites are. I know who the Moabites are, the Hamites, all the other nations. You know, um, but then you kind of want to put all the pieces together, and you want to sit down and say, okay, what does the Lord require of us? Because we know we're saved by faith and not works. But James 2, we justify our faith with our works. But some brothers might be better at certain works than other brothers. Does that mean that that brother can't be saved? No, it doesn't, because we're not saved by works. We're saved by faith, as long as his heart in it and he's trying. So let's just answer that question real quick. What does the Lord require of us? This is Deuteronomy chapter 10. I'm gonna start at verse 12. It says, "And now Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee?" So verbatim, right? And this is what he requires of us. "But to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul." So that's what he requires of us, just to walk in all his ways, which are the law, statutes, commandments. To love him. If you love, the love of God is to keep his commandments. To serve the Lord. How do you serve the Lord? By, keeping his commandments. Thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. To keep the commandments. Verse 13. Of the Lord and his statutes, which I have commanded thee this day for thy good. That's important, for thy good, because really keeping the law, statutes, and commandments is for our own good. It benefits us. The dietary law keeps us healthy, keeps us a holy people. Law, statutes, and commandments is what always made us holy and different from all the other nations. Verse 14, "Behold, the heaven and the heavens of heavens is the Lord thy God, the earth also, within all that therein is." So that's the reason to fear the Lord, because really all of this belongs to the Lord. The Lord created all this, including you. Your Ecclesiastes chapter 12. Your spirit to pray. I mean, it goes back to the Lord, because that's the owner of your spirit. He created you. So at least we could do is just follow the law, statutes, commandments, which is going to do good for us anyways, which is going to only make us a better people and only benefit us. Verse 15. "Only the Lord had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them." So thy fathers, the fathers, this is talking to the Israelites, not everybody else's, but the Israelite fathers. He chose them in their seed after them, not these Edomites that could spiritually become Israelites and then they don't know what tribe they from. Nah, man, their seed, the bloodline. That's why we always say it's not about color, it's about seed, bloodline. You got to trace back to the man Jacob, and then Isaac, Abraham. That's the chosen bloodline, the chosen seed. You know, um, Even you above all people. So all people equal? No, it says even you above all people, as it is this day. Verse 16. "Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff necked, stiff necked." So we got to circumcise our heart. circumcision of the heart. And we can't be stiff necked no more, turning our head from the Lord and stuff like that, and not wanting to hear and not wanting to follow. Verse 17: For the Lord your God, so our Lord, I don't know about those other nations, they gods and stuff, false gods and idols that they got, but I know the Lord our God. So it says, for the Lord your God is the God of gods, the Lord of lords, the great God, the Almighty, and the terrible, which regardeth not person nor taketh reward. You can't pay the Lord off. You can't try to reward the Lord and get this and that, man. No, your best bet. This is how you feed the Lord, is by keeping His word and doing His will. If you're an Israelite, it talks about that in Matthew 25. He said, "You fed me when I was hungry. You gave me drink when I was thirsty and stuff like that." That's how you feed the Lord. But He regardeth not persons. So it don't matter if you big headed about yourself and think you this and think you that, man. The Lord don't regard if that. This is our whole goal. This is what you're supposed to be doing. This is what it says verbatim. This is what the Lord God requires of thee. You know. Here, let me jump. Well, Zechariah 7 says, starting at verse 11, it says, but they refused to hearken and pulled away the shoulders and stopped their ears that they should not hear. So that's where it goes back to being, where he's saying, be no more stiff necked. Because this is how we were stiff necked. We refused to hearken. We pulled away our shoulders, stopped our ears that we should not hear. Yeah, they made their hearts as a abnett stone. Abnett stone, I looked it up. It's like a unbreakable stone or something like that. Lest they should hear the law. So we turned our hearts from hearing the law. And that was the only thing the Lord required of us. And the word which the Lord of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. That's why back in Deuteronomy 10 it says, Salaki. That's why it says that the Lord is a terrible Lord. Therefore it came to pass that as he cried and they would not hear, so the Lord cried out for us, man, and we didn't hear. So they cried and I will not hear, say the Lord. So the Lord said, look, y'all gonna cry, he ain't gonna hear. He only gonna hear the elect, the ones that did hear. The Lord crying out right now, giving us warnings, the signs, crying out right now. And a lot of people ain't hearing them, but the elect, we hearing them when we doing the work, and that's why he gonna hear us when the affliction come and we start crying out for the Lord. But the ones that's not hearing them, they gonna inherit that second death, man. Verse 14, but I scattered them with a whirlwind among all nations who they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned, for they laid the pleasant land desolate. And that's another verse on the Lord scattered us among all nations. That's why he's going to be dealing with all nations, because he's dealing with all the Israelites and all those different nations that they were scattered to. But this was my point. What does the Lord require of us? Zechariah chapter 8. What's that? Verse 16. These are the things that ye should do. So same thing. What does the Lord require of us? This is saying, these are the things that we should do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. Just speak the truth to your neighbor, man. Learn the truth first off, so you can speak it correctly. Be diligent, study to show yourself approved, and speak it to your neighbor. If you come across meaning another Israelite, your brother, by blood, by seed. If you come across another Israelite, don't hold back no punches, man. Speak it to him. Say something to him about the truth. Just open your mouth up and say something. You got brothers that's in the camps and go on the highways and byways and stuff like that. That's a great thing. But if you ain't built yourself up to do that yet, just speak the truth to a brother you come across. Like, look, bro, hey, you're an Israelite, right? Oh, yeah, I know I'm an Israelite. Yeah, but you know what the Lord requires of us. You could give them these scriptures that I'm literally pulling. Deuteronomy chapter 10. Look, this is what the Lord requires of us. Zechariah chapter 8. Starting at verse 16. Look, this what the Lord requires of us, bro. So we got to do that. You got to get in the book and learn those law, statutes, commandments, and try to keep them the best you can. Have faith, Verse 16, these are the things that ye should do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor, right? Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates, meaning at home, at home, execute Start living by the truth. Start like you said. What is that? That's Romans. Is that Romans chapter 2 that speaks about being a Jew inwardly? Yeah, it got to be Romans chapter 2. I'll try to find it. When you at home, keep the law, statutes, commandments. Set your house up on following the Lord. Get your wife in order, get your kids in order. Make sure they not eating abominable meats and unclean meats. Make sure they trying to keep the law, statutes, commandments the best they can. Raise them the right way. Get your wife on board. Make sure she's trying to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Make sure you're at your home. Your home is under the Lord. Here, let me try to find that in Romans. I believe it's Romans chapter 2. Because I was only going to pull two scriptures, but the Spirit pulls you in, especially on the Sabbath day, and then you get to go on into and it becomes way, way longer. But that's a great thing, lets you know that the Lord's still dealing with you and you still got to go harder. Here, let me try to find it. Verse 28. Romans chapter 2, verse 28. For he is not a Jew which is one outwardly, neither is that circumcision which is outward in the flesh, but he is a Jew which is one inwardly, and circumcision is that of the heart in the spirit and not in the latter, whose praise is not of man but of God. So a lot of people will take that and say, look, it doesn't you're not really a Jew if by blood or flesh. It's about if your heart and your spirit. But see, the thing is that you have to be a Jew by blood or spirit, or by blood and flesh first, and then you have to be a Jew inwardly, because you got a lot of Jews. That's why they were being called Gentiles, because you got Jews that follow the Gentiles in every single way, worship their idols, keep Christmas and these holidays and stuff like that. We don't even call them Jews because they not being a Jew inwardly, so we call them Gentiles, and that's why the Jews were being called Gentiles, in Paul's teachings and stuff like that. Man, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole because I could pull that too. Here, let me see if I can find it in Corinthians. What's that? First Corinthians 12? Yeah, I think it's First Corinthians 12. Yeah, First Corinthians 12, verse 1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I will not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles. So you were a Gentile. So if you a Gentile, this has to be talking about you were a Gentile spiritually, because how were you war something and now you're something different? Carried away, and this is what made them Gentiles. Carried away into these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Who were they led by? They were led by actual Gentiles, led by actual other nations into following their dumb idols, which you have brothers that do it today that's following stuff like I said, Christmas and stuff like that, and their false gods today, because that's what made them Gentiles. So you have to be a Jew inwardly, which goes back to Zechariah chapter 8. These things in your gate, execute the judgment and truth and peace in your gates. Back in verse 16, you have to live it. Verse 17, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor. So you might have a little scuffle with brothers here and there, but you just got to let that shit go, man. You just got to let that shit go and keep your eyes on the prize. Don't even think about it no more. Don't even care about it. If you reconcile, then you reconcile, and then just leave it there. Just let it go, because you can't imagine that evil. You can't hold a grudge. You know what I mean? Against your neighbor, because you could be judged for that. How you gonna ask the Lord to forgive you if you ain't forgiven your brother? Scriptures talk about that. It says, "In love, no false oath." So same thing with bearing false witness. That's already against the law right there. That's a commandment. But no false oath. I mean, what does it mean? It means what it says verbatim. Everything ain't no parable. Everything ain't no parable. It got to be broken down. For all these are things that I hate, say the Lord. So the Lord said he hate if you have evil against your neighbor and false oaths and stuff like that. If you ain't keeping the commandments. Um, so those are the things that the Lord required of us. Deuteronomy chapter 10, and Zechariah chapter 8, starting at verse 16 on down. let me get that. I think Deuteronomy chapter 10 was starting at verse 16 2. Here, let me double check again. Deuteronomy chapter 10 starting at verse 12. Starting at verse 12 on down. So that's what the Lord requires of us. Like Zechariah chapter 8 says, speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor. So hey, you're an Israelite, right? Okay, so we got to try to keep the law, statute, commandments the best we can and have faith. And then you can pull those two scriptures and look, this is what the Lord requires of us. So I'm gonna leave it there. Salvation to the elect. Shalom.